All scientists, modernists, and beneficiaries of Western thought should celebrate the day known as Halloween. Although the day is traditionally a celebration of fear and death, it is also the anniversary of a major step in the rebirth of modern thought. As some Christians know, on the night of October 31st, 1517, Martin Luther nailed his 95 Theses, or Reasons, to the door of the church of Wittenberg Castle. The annoying thing about his work is that Luther was only 5 short of 100 reasons. Maybe he just ran out of time before he could come up with 5 more, and he chose to compromise that perfect 100 for his All Saints' Day deadline. The document is about 2,500 words long when translated into English, and it is 9 pages long when formatted in MLA. With this wealth of words, Luther used the Bible, and predominantly Paul's letter to the Romans, to challenge the established dictators of truth at that time. By using a universally trusted source to expose truth, in spite of the pre-modern notion of accepting truth at face value, Luther thrust religion into the battle between pre-modernism and modernism. This addition to the conflict displayed modernism to the public as a viable route for obtaining truth. Suddenly, the people could think for themselves. The common man did not have to blindly accept the claims of religious leaders anymore. Now he could seek truth out for himself. It's no coincidence that the Middle Ages are usually marked to have ended in the early 16th century. While it romanticizes a time of knights, princesses, and dragons for some reason, this period of history, also known as the Dark Ages, saw the minds of man held captive under the shadow of superstition. Unlike science, superstition does not use evidence to prove or disprove truth. Instead, truth is defined by authority, which of course is conveniently put into place by superstition. An example of superstition is the belief that African Americans are less intelligent than Anglo-Americans. This lie was used to ease the conscience of Americans who were doubting the morality of slavery. Slavery, both economical and intellectual, plagued the common man during the Middle Ages, and while the serfs answered up the chains of nobility that led to the emperors of France, princes of Germany, and kings of England, all of these mighty rulers had to answer to the ruler of one tiny nation in the Italian peninsula, the Pope. Contrary to what books, films, and other forms of fiction suggest, the Pope was the most powerful man in Europe. Armed with the keys to the kingdom, which were essentially power over any person's final destination, he could usually control the rulers of Europe by holding their salvation over their heads. The Pope's other means of controlling Europe was, of course, the all-time Christian favorite, establishing the kingdom of God over all the earth. This kingdom was under the rule of one man. He was, of course, not Christ, but whatever European ruler the Pope liked the most. The rulers competed against each other for the favor of the Pope and rule over the second most powerful empire in Europe. The Pope's own empire, of course, needed funding, and while he did receive tribute from the nations of Europe, he needed more. His solution was to tax the people in other European nations. However, instead of calling it a tax, he used superstition to make people believe that they could purchase the forgiveness of God for their sins and for the sins of others, even sins that they would commit in the future. This was the last straw for Luther, who discovered that the superstition behind indulgences contradicted the Bible, which he, unlike most people, could read in Latin. Because he and a large portion of Europe considered the Bible to be a more credible source for truth, some people believed his reasonings over the Pope. Because Luther was excommunicated and his 95 Theses were condemned as heresy, his reasons for protest would not have been enough on their own. Fortunately, his 95 blows to pre-modern thought were accompanied by another major blow to superstition 25 years prior. In 1492, Columbus proved the earth round by supposedly sailing to the western coast of Asia. The superstition that the world is flat, oddly believed today by some, was all but destroyed. This gave Europeans the idea that maybe, just maybe, other superstitions could be wrong as well. Challenging commonly held beliefs is a major component of both science and modernism. Without a major blow to pre-modernism, like Luther's 95 Theses, we would probably still be in the Dark Ages. Philosophy is usually spawned from religion, and this is no exception. So, this Halloween and all the others, you can thank God for using Martin Luther to liberate the minds of Europe who invented the technology which provides us with the conveniences of modern life. Please click the like button if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe for more similar but better videos. I suggest you share this video with your friends just to show how smart you are for understanding this video. It is much safer to be the predator than the prey.